Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we're focusing in and zooming in a little bit more in depth on a great viewer question that we had come in about a week or so ago. And that was to explore a little bit more of the personality traits of the female psychopath, and particularly that kind of sort of addiction. And so when it really comes to being able to heal from this, I want you to understand in a proper reframing mode that it's more than an addiction. It's an addiction, but it's almost, I really feel that the fight or flight mechanism, which is incited in people who they have targeted, people who they have gotten close with, people who they have really manipulated to a very profound degree, like I said, to the hook, line, and sinker. In other words, you've swallowed the bait. They're now inside of you. You can't stop thinking about them day in, day out. Despite your willfulness to be rid of them, to be clear of them, you can't seem to shake it loose. You can't seem to pry yourself away from thinking about them, looking them up, trying to go tit for tat, trying to resolve things, trying to fight it out. See how angry you get. See how severe it can get. See how extreme it can get to prove that they're wrong, to shout it out in their face. So all these propensities towards rumination is really because your body is trying to rid itself, in my take on things, of a toxicity, very much like emotional throwing up or emotional puking, like your body, like if you've ever had the stomach flu and you've had like the dry heaves and your body is just keeping regurgitating, the stomach muscles are squenching, squeezing, trying to force out the toxicity, whatever it is, the food poisoning, the virus, whatever it is that you have been inflamed and inflicted with. Your body's just trying to rid itself of this. Yet you want to calm down. You try to deep breathe and calm down, but you keep running to the toilet. So my feeling, as you know, I use a lot of analogies here to help people who have been inflicted with this sort of individual in their life, this sort of quote unquote person who really is very cold-blooded, who is very ice water running through the veins, as a psychopath will describe themselves. If they've ever described themselves to you, it is, they are feelingless. They do not have warmth, compassion, etc. We're going to get more into that. But the sort of forceful rumination, the addiction, in my viewpoint, is your body organically, your mind is trying to rid itself of your thoughts and preoccupation and the obsession because of the brainwashing and the gaslighting. Your subconscious mind knows, which is more profound and wiser than your everyday conscious thoughts. In other words, I need to do this, I need to do that. That's your conscious mind. You have the subconscious or unconscious, which instinctively, intuitively knows that this person is to be alarmed. You are setting off like an emotional alarm about this person. Yet because of the love bombing, because of the confusion, because of the brainwashing, because of the gaslighting, you have become, deluded, fooled, manipulated, hijacked. I mean, there aren't really enough words in the human language to describe the experience of what it is to be sort of taken over by this, other than, what might kind of come close is like alien, or some people say telepathic. So it's like kind of at what I would let's just say another dimension. In other words, out of the norm of people who you've met, this person is one in 1,000. They are in that very small, uncommon percentage of your normal type of person. So you're not dealing with a normal individual, despite the outside that they have 2 eyes, a mouth, 2 ears, etc. What you're dealing with underneath is not human at all. It is very antisocial, or against society. It is intra-species predator. This is what you are dealing with. So when I talk about, don't take it lightly, it is very, very serious when you say that you are addicted to this person. In my mind, it's like having a tarantula. I've used this explanation in a previous video. If you were to see a huge, like 1-foot spider crawling across your floor with 8 legs, spines coming out of it, like big, hook teeth, and crawling at you like it's gonna bite you, dark black, about this thick, and crawling up, your couch at you, you would know to be afraid. I mean, you would just know to shriek, run, leave your house, run for the street, screaming and crying and trying to find someone who can get this thing out. So you would know, just like if you were to see a bear charging at you, if you were to see, a venomous dog charging at you, if you were to see an 8-foot boa constrictor come wriggling through you at the desert, looking at you like it's going to bite and inflict you with venom, you would know, this is to be feared. However, this individual fits into that same category as those previous experiences. They are like the human tarantula, okay? Tarantula spider. So, and we're going to get to that in a moment, which is also I'm going to call your spidey sense. So, which is what I have because of years of studying this. So I'm able to I'm able to sense these people out. I'm aware. I have a new level of wisdom and understanding where I can, I sense this now. So I'm clear and in touch with this. But however, people who have been love bombed in relationships, in work relationships where they've been sort of deluded or, they don't know better. People who have been married or are dating or are fiancés with or have had flings with, romantic interests with. So there's the love bombing phase where you're vulnerable. You don't know that this type of entity exists. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what's involved. You don't know that they are manipulated. You don't know that they are antisocial. You don't know that they deliberately and intentionally inflict pain on others, particularly that of emotional pain, and are actually amused and happy by other people's pain because they want this. They desire other people's pain. For some reason, this gives them quote unquote joy, which is not what we experience as joy or the rest of society. But this gives them a psychopathic, let's just say, reward. And so, it is the pain though. So the ruminations, in my feeling, which is really sort of addiction reframed, is to understand that this tarantula, once upon a time, it delivered your remote control. It delivered your socks. It delivered your newspaper. It went and got you a Danish. It went and got you a phone. It went and got you a hot cup of coffee, and then delivered it to wherever it is you were sitting. So this person, in the beginning, the love bombing, or what it's really the targeting stage, it's the grooming stage to set you up for failure, for emotional hurt, for freaking out, for losing your mind, for losing your senses, for having an emotional haywire breakdown. And this is serious. We're not talking about, oh, I'm having a breakdown, like I'm freaking out, oh my God. We're talking like literal breakdown. We're talking literal freaking out. Like I can't deal with this. Like I need professional help. Like I can't fix this on my own. My friends, my family, my regular doctors can't help me here. We're talking about that seriousness here, folks. And so that's why, I approach this with very grave seriousness. And, I'm sure someone psychopathic would be like, finally, someone who's, whatever. So anyway, and so it's to understand that why it's so very confusing and why you've got this rumination, or i.e. addiction, is because of the severity, the profundity, and the extremity, the extremes to which your emotions have been heightened, i.e., your dopamine, your adrenals, your cortisol. It's really strictly it comes down to chemical. Okay, and then you basically lose the ability to focus on what is right. You literally, lose your own ability of judgment, of morality, of ethics. So you end up becoming like an aftermath of the psychopathic equation. In other words, someone who does not have a conscience, someone who does not have integrity, someone who does not have ethics, someone who does not have a heart, someone who does not, listen with caring, someone who does not feel love, someone who cannot connect to others, someone who does not feel fear. They only register it as someone who what displays on their face as, they're about to be hurt. That's how a psychopath will describe their victim. Like, they're like, I don't feel that emotion, but that look is what it's like right before I'm about to somebody, i.e. take them out, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to use the word because it's so triggering. And so think about what I'm talking about here, and then you'll understand the gravity and seriousness with which I am dealing with. If you have invited this person into your home, into your life, and if you're having this addiction, these ruminations, it is because you need to understand you're dealing with a chemical concoction within your body, which is then really sort of causing you to lose control, like control of your thoughts, your feelings, your values, i.e. you're becoming like a volatile mix of what you would call your mirror neurons, which is your own intrinsic organic ability to connect to somebody, your neurons. So just like when you watch a movie and you feel what the character's going through, or you see somebody crying, and you instinctively want to run over. So that's your mirror neuron. So that's what that is like picking up. That's you feel that intrinsically. So that whole system is basically replaced, okay? So that is replaced then by the imprinting of this anomaly. Anomaly meaning not, in an abnormal growth, okay? So if you were to look inside like a cut green pepper and you were to see something that's completely squiggly, that was a cellular anomaly. So you're experiencing an emotional anomaly, abnormality. So this is very serious, and you have to understand not only the seriousness in that it's not funny, it's not cute, it's not provocative to be this inflamed by this individual. You're dealing with something very serious, and there's nothing positive about the addiction. You have to understand and deal with it objectively and say, OMG, I have been inflicted and inflamed with this experience. Don't call it a person, call it an experience, which is really causing me to derail and lose control and lose my senses, my focus, my congruency. It's causing me to lose everything. And when I say everything, I don't just mean I'm like, oh, I'm losing it. I'm losing everything. I'm talking about you're losing it. You're losing everything. And you need to separate. You need to go no contact. You need to understand what you're dealing with, and you do need to learn about what you're dealing with. And you really, unfortunately, your life is going to need to take like this, and I need to study now to understand exactly what it is I have. It's like being inflicted with a great new diagnosis, like you've just been diagnosed with cancer, you've just been diagnosed with lupus, whatever it is. You need to get your hands on what it is that you have and that you're dealing with. And so that's where this channel comes in as part of your tools. But you need to understand what you're dealing with, and that you need your propensity is because you're trying to purge yourself of this sort of emotional tarantula, is what we're calling it, that in the beginning brought you your socks, your slippers, your cigarette, your gas, whatever it is that they brought you. It didn't look like a tarantula. It didn't look scary. It didn't look like it was charging at you with a 1-foot spider, crawling up. But that is what it is. So you need to get what is the very powerful and important tool here, which is cognitive reframing, which means your ability to reframe the meaning of something. And then participating in the experience of alchemy, which means taking it and transmuting it, changing the source of it, into something positive. So like the book, The Alchemist, it's talking about the, basically the ancients would, alchemize, these very scrap metals into gold. Like that's where it originally comes from, like creating gold out of scrap metal. So in other words, the healing journey is that of alchemy, where you're basically, taking this whole big pot of different chemicals which seem really worthless, like a whole spew of things, and then learning and alchemizing until it becomes gold, until it becomes wisdom, and until it becomes value. And so healing is being able to have the wisdom from this experience and learning that there are people out there who you unequivocally should be afraid of and cannot trust and cannot invite them close to you. And then being able to know that that's this individual, uncommon. Don't make it something positive. Oh, it's rare and some people say, I find these people fascinating. Like they're just going to toy with them. And, oh, it's fun to be attracted as long as you give them what they want. Everything is okay. You are unequivocally playing with fire. So if you want to play with some gasoline and matches and see what kind of fun designs you can make and see if you don't get scorched, as they say, there's blood on your own hands if you are suffering. And so it's really an emotional cruelty. You have to understand that. And so with someone who is a female, unequivocally, you have to understand the nurturing side, the ability to be like the mother figure. So just transposing it into that sort of what you would consider like the divine feminine and, all this sort of very passive, soft energy, which is healthy feminine energy. That's not what you're getting, so you have to separate the two in your mind and then reframe and then understand, you're not dealing with, the good witch, you're not dealing with, the tarantula who brought you your slippers, your newspaper, your cigarette, your cigar. They're not like your puppy. They used to have cartoons about that. The man, the dog bring him his slippers. That's not it. That's not what you're dealing with. Use the cognitive tool of reframing, which is more accurate to the proper meaning that you're giving to the situation, and you're dealing with someone who is like the tarantula. And the reason I think why people are so agitated, it's because it's like having that 1-foot tarantula in your house, but know that you don't have an exterminator to get it out. So it's kind of like it goes into hiding. And is it here? Is it there? So you're like searching everywhere. You're trying to find it. And you're in that fearful state, like, I can't move on until I find this thing and get rid of it. So you're always going to be on this chase, when you basically just have to let the door open and know that the tarantula is going to walk out, close the door, and you are safe. You're home free. So you have to just open up that door, which means the allowing, and I'm letting this person walk away, and I'm closing the door, and then I'm adopting a cool, calm indifference to them. So you need to understand and register the new emotional state with which you have to approach this subject, not only when you're with them or you see them, but all the time. And to understand that not only that you're not alone, that there are other people who this particular person has hurt, but there's other people like this entity who other people have also been equally or worse than hurt, affected, inflicted, imprinted. Inflicted is kind of like shrapnel wounds, that have been flung out and like are just embedded in you. So other people have been inflicted as well. So realize that you are in the company of a specific group of people who need a specific sort of understanding, which I hope we're providing here for you, because it's so very far and in between, if it all not even existent. So that's why we're developing the tools here and having this resource here for you at the Peace and Harmony channel. But it's to understand and then cognitively reframe to say, this is not, what I'm addicted to. This is nothing but a very divisive, premeditated, pre-calculated effect that this individual wants to bestow upon me. And to see me wriggle with the poison, to see me inflamed with the toxin, makes them happy. It makes them giggle with joy. Psychopathic joy. Not like joy of the holidays or joyful accomplishment. We're talking psychopathic dopamine, reward. They are more sensitive to this neurochemical dopamine. So they're just like, they're on a psychopathic high, and they'll continue it. And so the worse you get, the happier they get. The worse you get, the happier they get. Do you see the bottom line of this equation? Do you see how this all adds up? Do you see how this is a pattern? If you allow it and you do not learn the lesson, you're going to go more and more into the minus. You're going to get more and more in emotional debt. You're going to get more and more out of touch. You're going to get further and further away from what it is you need to get a grip on. And so it's not random. It is calculated. It is not random. It is calculated. And a psychopath does not calculate for a week. They don't calculate for 2 weeks. They don't calculate for 4 months. They calculate for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. They calculate for a lifetime. And oftentimes they're able to kind of see psychically, how other people are going to pan out. It's just because, they just have this psychopathy. This is how they are hardwired. You can't get into a car and expect to ride a motorcycle. Likewise, you can't get into a motorcycle and expect it to be a car. You can't expect to be in a relationship with this individual and expect them to be human and humane. It's just not what you're dealing with. You can't have a dog and expect for it to be a cat the next day. It is physically impossible. It is, just not even a magician could do this. So what makes you think that you can? So it gets worse and worse. So if you are in that, you have to understand the bottom line is to get them out of your system and decide that you're going to stop. If you are weak and you can't stop, then you need to get with someone. You need to get assistance. You need to get help. If you're weak and you're still allowing them, that tarantula in, and you're not expecting to be bitten, inflamed, etc., then you're just going to perpetuate that until it gets so bad. And they know. They unequivocally know. So I hope that this video does help convey the message. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Once again, I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Love you.